We thought we were going to set every record and break all box office records and sell millions of books overnight. It hasn't happened yet, but I could not be happier with a publisher, and she's wonderful. And I'm just thrilled that Purpose Publishing is a great publishing company if you want to self-publish and just hook up with honest, caring, and trustworthy people in a time when publishing is very, very not credible. There's a lot of bad people there. So I just want my people, my friends to know, and people who might want, maybe the 10 who might want to watch this, just to know who Michelle Gines is from Purpose Publishing in Grandview, Missouri.
That is correct. Thank you, Susan, for that. You know what? It has been a wonderful journey, and you have been such a blessing actually to even work with, because I tell you, you know, most of the time when we are doing projects and when we are, we all start off and we want everything just gangbusters, just blow up just immediately. And we have seen together, we've seen this process and what it looks like. And sometimes it takes a little longer, or it's a little more work. It's a little harder, you know, but I'm glad that you, that you stuck with us and you just understand now that maybe you didn't know when you got started, you know, that what this process is actually like. And that's what these sessions are really all about, is kind of to hear from authors what their experiences have been, how they're managing through COVID-19, of course, but then, you know, also what are you doing and kind of what's the uptake? What does it take for you on your part as the author, some of the things that you're doing to help to bring in, or so that your book is successful, your books are successful. As a matter of fact, Susan, tell us about your books. This is the Susan Mintz, and I want to share with you, she is an exciting and a wonderful author. She's been doing this a long time, writer all her life. Susan, if you were introducing Susan Mintz, what would you say?
I am an author. I'm a published author, even if I can do it myself, but I have a great story. If there's ever been a time for my story to be out, and it really is right now, because HIV, AIDS has never been in the news more than it is because of COVID-19. The parallels are amazing. I mean, 40 years ago, when my late husband, you know, I heard about AIDS, and my late husband, I won't give you everything, because if you want the book, go and buy it. But I'm saying I'm not giving this stuff away anymore. I'm too old. But anyway, if people who know or don't know that I was married to a bisexual man who passed from AIDS in '94. But in '81, when I heard about HIV, I realized that I was dealing with a very serious situation. And when he took ill in the hospital, I started just documenting every day for the 2 years he was ill. But now it's manageable. HIV is under control. It is manageable, but it was terribly frightening. For a while, I watched my neighborhood die. I watched my friends get taken out, because I lived in a very eclectic type of a neighborhood. And it just even carried into Boca in '85 and in '90s. I mean, it hasn't gone away, but now the medications are incredible, the treatments. So, but now to see this and everybody talking about HIV 40 years later, that this will one day too be another HIV, but the whole thing is still very different. They didn't realize that it was a sexually transmitted disease till several years later. This is still respiratory and still can affect the other parts of the body. The thing I deal with is I've been involved with this for 40 years, whether I wrote Committed to Love, which is my autobiography, my journey with Jeffrey, his bisexuality, my marriage to him, my love for him, everything that involved it, and then barely taking care of him for the 2 years while he was ill. My book is ready for a series on Netflix or HBO. It's so timely now because of HIV, and I have an agent, and I know that God is the ultimate agent. So I'm just letting that happen. And then with the Hospice Heart book, that was just stories of people I wrote while I was at hospice working, and I met them and documented. So as a writer, HIV and my husband's illness was an incredible journey, because I journaled it, I diaried it, I documented. I'm a documentary writer. I'm not a novelist per se. My books chaptered, they're labeled, they're noted according to what the specific issue of what I had to deal with. So my 24 chapters in my book, Committed to Love, and the 24 chapters in hospice, all are relative to what the situation was. So I'm a very situational writer.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of person I will always be: emotional, situational, experiential. So that's just how that works. But any of the books you want, they're on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, all the routes, and get them through Michelle, obviously. But for me, I resigned the fact that I know it's going to happen at some point, and I will not stop that faith. I know my story would profoundly give hope and faith and love and purpose to the tens now of millions, maybe the billions of people around the world, because I got through a pandemic called HIV/AIDS. I watched it destroy my life, but yet I, 40 years later, am watching it hit a whole nother demographics of people and a whole nother society and a whole nother cultural and a whole nother 7 continents. I think Antarctica
Yeah.
might be the one that doesn't have it. So I'm looking at 40 years of feeling the same thing that many people now are just feeling. So I
Right.
look at my time has definitely come to be able to go global with a story that would really help the world to deal with. You can't stop, because when AIDS first started in 81, nobody thought what was going on. But now look what happened. But the measures now are very strict, and you're dealing with generations and political issues and people who are ego driven and power centric. It's horrible. And in a healthcare system, the last thing I just did was the disproportionate way that African American, I just did this a couple months ago at church. I gave a seminar. It was about the disproportionate effect of HIV/AIDS on African American women and the Latino community. I just did this months before this thing because I know that African American women are disproportionately affected by HIV. Our healthcare system doesn't cater to the minorities and the poorest of the poor. So of course, when I started hearing about this virus, my initial reaction was, don't you see the hurricane coming? It's not a 2 or a 3. You're looking at a 5 now, and it's hitting the poorest of the poor, the lowest of the low, those who have the most poverty, those of color. They're all talking about it now. I was talking about it months ago, plus I was talking about it during a previous pandemic, though not at this level. So there's so much information. I could give MSNBC and CNN and even Fox News, I could give them so much information of how to go through what you can go through. And faith is number one.
Yeah, absolutely. I want because you were talking and you kind of hit on something that I think is really important, especially right now, and especially to the audience of people that will see this video that we're doing here. But I want you said that with you and your experience with Jeffrey and everything that was going on, that you were a situational writer, very emotional. What should people be doing right now if writers, those who this has impressed upon them something, their experience or experiences that they've had previously, how would you tell somebody to hone that and take this opportunity really to get creative, get kind of deep dive into themselves, to be able to pour something out that's going to be helpful and a resource for people years to come? What advice would you give?
Right. I'd say whatever piece of paper you can get your hands on now, or your computer or your phone, whatever it is, start writing how you feel at this moment at 11:10, wherever you are in the world. How do you feel? What are you going through? Clear out your brain, clear out your head, related to what you've been through in your life. Write your story, because not only is writing therapy, as we know, but writing clears out your brain. And right now, our brains are going nuts. So for me, I think this is the greatest time for a writer, an author. Even if you're not a writer, everybody can write. If you can put a sentence together, you're a writer. I mean, it's not, you don't have to do Winds of War or Hawaii or any of these novels that take you maybe a decade to get through. Just write. Write a few sentences a day. Wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, it's still here. I got to deal with it today. I still have to take care of children. I still have to feed myself. Write your issue, write it down, sequence your day, and just put it back. Because I love a statement that I love Meatloaf, who's the singer of Meatloaf. He's my favorite. And one of his songs is, though, it says, "You'll never be as young as you are right now." And
Right. That's true.
you will never be as young. And I can look at all my wrinkles, and I can remember when I didn't have, and my teeth were really my teeth, and I looked the way I used to look. And I'm saying, you'll never be as young as you are right now. Write your journey, because you don't know where it's going to go, but you know what you have right now.
Absolutely. That's good. That's very good. I know
I'm
writing is
deep. I'm deep, deep, deep.
you are. You know what? One of the questions that I have been asking everybody is, what C are you using right now? Are you connecting? Are you creating? Are you coasting? Are you communicating? What C are you using right now? What do you find? How are you spending your time right now with people, or with yourself, or with the Lord? What C are you using?
Mostly, I'm just spending a lot of time truly by myself. I mean, I have a
Mhm.
routine. I'm working on a great tan. I sit outside in the morning for a couple hours, the best tan I've had in decades. And then I
I
go
know
in and
you look really good.
I'm making NutriBullet. So I lost 5 pounds. I make a NutriBullet for lunch. And then I go ahead and watch a movie, watch a little news, watch a movie, take a sleeping pill at 7 o'clock, 7:30, go to bed like my mother would. And I think to myself, I'm getting through it all right. I'm just taking a pill and I'm eating well. And I think of my mother and I think, oh my God, I'm my mother. I'm eating at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm going to bed at 7:30. But no, my neighbors, I live in a senior community, and my neighbors are right now,
Mhm.
to see them all walking around in masks, and people say hello, but they don't want to go near each other in the store, to see the masks and the gloves and the way people are. It's just horrible. It's so sad. And also, there's fear. You can cut the fear
Mhm.
with a knife.
Yeah,
And
that's very
what
true.
I use to get through, I'm just spending a lot of time quiet
Yeah,
and trying to
quiet.
avoid much negativity. Though with the news, it's hard not to. But being a news person, I enjoy it. However, I just think it's a great time for everybody to find the one thing that can give them some kind of solace for a day.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time. It seems like the time goes by on us so quick, but I want to make sure that people know how to connect with you to get your books. So give us the website.
The website is Susan Mintz, SusanMintz.com. You can reach me on all social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. You can get everything you want from, it's called SMintz7179. And everything is, I'm so easy to reach. If you Google me, I'll pop up somewhere. And books are great. It's called Committed to Love. It's my story with my darling Jeffrey, who passed from AIDS in '94. I've been a widow 25 years. I don't date, don't do any of that. I'm very honed into the Lord. But in general, my mother was a hospice heart. As I say, I have a great agent who's looking to see if we can work on some other aspects of it. But right now, things are not going the way everybody would like. We're all taking a change. But no, you can Google me, you can Facebook me, all my interviews are on my website, and this one including. I hope you'll send me the link, and I'll
I
have
will definitely send you
I'll post,
the
and just
link.
name it something clever, or name it something that would bring people together. A pandemic with your publisher or something. How to talk about a pandemic with your publisher, something similar. You'll know it, and then send it to me. But it's just a crazy time, and as far as I'm concerned, I just think that people have to stay very prayed up, very hoping, very trusting, very believing, and know that you're going to go through an awful lot of suffering and heartache and pain, and watching people what they're going through, that maybe in some ways your situation isn't as bad as others.
Yeah, that's very
But
true. Very true.
go to my website, and you'll see under books, and you'll see Michelle's name, and you'll see her having done other things on the website. We didn't remove her. We rearranged the website, but we didn't remove my darling. Oh, a few more
Super
minutes.
dog.
Oh, we still
But
have
you
some
know
time.
what? One of the things I always like to say about you is I know we did a social media post about you a few years ago, seniors in social media. And, you know, when you just said that they can find you on all the platforms, you really can. Susan is out there, and I want to commend you for all the things that you are doing, the way that you kind of take your time. You got a little schedule that you're kind of working on now. But, you know, part of that is also staying connected, and it's utilizing the platforms that are there. It is talking to, you know, various people all over the world, because the platforms kind of bring all of us together. So the world is a lot smaller than it used to be, and certainly a lot smaller than it has to be when you're reaching out to folks. So Susan, thank you so much for having this time with me today. I'm excited. I'm so glad to see you and glad we got to spend some time together. We'll have to do it again soon. For those of you tuning in, this is Michelle Guides, Purpose Publishing, and I was talking to Susan Mintz. You can check out Susan at SusanMintz.com. That's SusanMintz.com. You can find her on her website, any of the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. She's out there. Look for her and you'll find her. And this has been a blessing. Susan, love you. Love your work. All right, we'll talk soon, my darling. Have a great day.
Tell your family hi for me.
Oh, absolutely, I will. Absolutely, I will. If Zaren's actually on a call downstairs. Otherwise, I'd have him come up so that you could actually see him and say hello. So we'll have to call you later and do that, okay?
You look great, though. It's so good to see you.